You're listening to Movie Sucktastic.
I'm complicated.
I walk a different path.
I know it. It all sounds like some bad movie.
Oh, yeah. Digging the new opening.
That was quick.
Yeah, it's a quick opening.
Yeah. No. We received a comment on one of the recent videos that the ending was the opening was annoyingly long. It's something I've been playing in the back of my head recently. I was always like the person who would have like the extra long phone answering machine record message because I like the presentation. So the comment on YouTube was kind of rude, so I deleted it because there's no need for that. But I did take the criticism, and we shortened that by about 50%, I think, or 40%.
I also had, long answering machine messages. I think my favorite was the opening to Conan the Barbarian. Let me tell you about high adventure. And then it goes into the Conan. That was my answering machine message. And you had to fucking listen to it. If you felt it was important enough, you listened to it, and then you left me a message.
My first answering machine, my first apartment, the answering machine message at one point was the whole opening theme song to Spectre Man. Spectre Man, and it goes all through the opening song, and then it waits for that part in the middle where it's just like the musical interlude,
right?
And that's when I'm like, "You've reached the Scott Wilson residence. If you'd like to leave a message," and then it goes back to the finale, Spectre Man, and yeah, you know what? I think the opening here kind of reflects a little bit of that mentality. I don't think I've matured too much in the past several decades, but we're getting there. We're getting better.
I've actually been meaning to do an opening as well because I think it would be cool to rotate some openings, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I've been doing them just because I've been hands on and trying to do more editing stuff. So I mean, feel free. I'm sorry though, I got off with that aspect, but you probably know by now this is Movie Sucktastic. That's Joey. I'm Scott, and we're reviewing
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
LXG.
And one
in,
lady.
2000 lingo.
LXG. As a matter of fact, all the movie posters, not all of them, but a large portion of them just had LXG, and like the TV, the trailers, the TV spots, it all said LXG.
And that's smart marketing because when it comes to back in 2003, theaters were more of a thing.
Well, yeah, it's over 20
if you remember.
Years ago. Of course.
So not many theaters have enough marquee space and letters to write out the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So by adding that to your advertising, you're giving theaters an easy way to make sure people know where to go see that film. Now, apparently not a lot of people tried to see this film, so that wasn't a problem after all.
Well, I did pull up the Box Office Mojo stats for it. Mm-hmm. It did have a $23 million opening weekend.
Right.
It did okay that way. Domestically, it didn't do great. Only made $66 million here in the U.S. of A, or North America, Canada as well, and it did $112 million internationally. So it made $179 million worldwide, and it had a budget of $78 million. So it did make money.
It's considered a bomb or a failure.
Correct.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the negative feedback of the film, primarily from comic book fans. A troubling intersection of our community, of which I am one. So I apologize for them wholeheartedly. There's a lot of backlash, especially because of Alan Moore. And disclaimer here, I have promised Joey I will keep my Alan Moore distaste to a minimum on the show so as
Okay.
not to discolor our conversation. But he is a colossal douchebag. Even
Off
though
to a
he
great
is
start.
but he's a great writer. I've read his comic books in the 90s when they came out. Watchmen, you name them. Not a big fan of From Hell, but I will defend his comic books. I will do, but him as a person, no.
Yeah,
but we'll get a little into that.
He's always been this way towards Hollywood since they've been making his stuff into television and Hollywood features. It has
one of
not
those-
been kind.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't mean to step on you there.
No, it's okay.
He's one of those people that doesn't work well with others. This is why he ended up leaving DC and starting his own company, which then was closed. And this is why he basically just sells his stuff for money and then complains what they do with it because he doesn't have full control. This is the guy who's only happy when he has full control. That's
right.
it.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he likes to play act Aleister Crowley. What the fuck that's about? But we're talking about the film. But unfortunately, though, because the negative, like if you look up any negative review on this film, the first 3 or 4 lines or first few minutes, they're gonna lead with, "This is the film that was that should have been faithfully adapted to the comic book, but unfortunately it strayed from the main source, and that's what happened." It's like, that's part of what happened, and that is the one. So it's kind of you can't avoid discussing the source material because that's the reason people hate it the most.
Yeah, yeah, and financially, I pulled up one of my favorite sites, The Numbers, and I looked at films from 2003 because this was released on July 11th. This is the height of the summer blockbuster time. That perfect time to release films. School is out everywhere. And, that's when movies make their most money, like the end of June, beginning of July. And the competition that it had, surprisingly, because no one expected it to do as well as it did, was Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. That movie was a monster hit that summer.
Yeah.
A monster hit that summer. So no one was expecting it to do well. So everyone was going to see Pirates of the Caribbean. It had legs. It just kept going and going and going. So then you had that.
I believe I saw that in the theater.
I did as well. Then
I don't remember if I saw League, but I
I
definitely
did
know
not
I
see
saw.
League.
I definitely saw.
I definitely did not see
Black
League.
Pearl.
And then a week later, Bad Boys 2 comes out. So it just, it just didn't have any legs. Then, let's see. Then a week after that, surprisingly, it did well enough, was the Lara Croft Tomb Raider. The Cradle of Life actually did better than League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Right. So tell me that's a better film because it made more money.
It's of course it's not.
Yeah, I see that. So
And then Seabiscuit and then Spy Kids
Oh.
3D also made more money. And then American
Yeah.
Wedding a week after that made even more. It had the summer in the palm of its hand.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone, the audiences said no.
and I blame Alan Moore. I blame the negative press that was coming out from the clashes between Connery and what was the
Right.
director's name? Norrington.
Stephen Norrington, who retired after this movie, by the way.
Both of them.
What do you mean both?
Right.
Well, Stephen Norrington retired as a filmmaker, as a director after this movie came out.
Yeah, this is notoriously the film that killed Sean Connery's career. As far as he decided after that I don't want to make films anymore.
Oh,
He retired. This is the last film he did.
Really? Sean Connery?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Oh my! I'm gonna look it up, but I can't even imagine.
If he's done something recently, then he took a long hiatus because you look up anything on this and it says, "Oh yeah, this is the film that made Sean Connery retire." It's like Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag with Joe Pesci. These films made them realize they don't want to be in film anymore. The only difference is Joe Pesci never wanted to be an actor; he wanted to be a lounge singer. But I mean, Sean Connery's been doing this his whole fucking life. That's all he does is act. And this film was like made him like, oh, you know what? Maybe this isn't fun anymore. But I think there's more to it than that too.
So here, so you have League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and then in the same year, 2003, was Freedom: A History of Us, or U.S., I should say. Yeah, because then after that, From Russia with Love is his James Bond voice, but I don't think he didn't do voiceover. I think they just pulled it from the movie.
He's done some voice work. He's not
really?
like hiding in a hut somewhere.
Okay.
But he said. And also, I think I think he actually. Here's the deal. Think about it. You've got Sean Connery, an aging professional, playing an aging professional.
Right.
And both of this, Alan Quartermain, and who doesn't want to do this anymore, and he realizes, wait, I don't want to do this anymore. I think it makes perfect sense. I think they put too much emphasis on Norrington. I mean, you can't tell. I mean, you can't tell me this is the history of Sean Connery's film career. All the films he's done. You're telling me this is the worst production he's ever been on? This was the hardest one that broke him? No. I think this is the film that finally made him realize, I'm too old for this shit.
Well, I think it's the same thing that Gene Hackman decided. He was just like, I'm done. I'm retired.
Yeah, but I think he needed like an experience to make him realize that. I think stuff that and also there's a bit of prima donna stuff there too. Yeah. I mean,
Stephen Norrington, he was only, I think, 40 or 39 when he retired. But I think that's because Hollywood treated him so bad. He's like, I'm done with this bullshit.
He retired because he was blacklisted. That's basically it.
Yeah.
That's the answer. That's true.
He did do some special effects work and things like that, which is what he originated from.
Right.
So
he killed Sean Connery. No one's hiring him again. He's blacklisted. Oh, now I
But you know what?
Again,
what's his face? Stephen Summers, the guy that did The Mummy and movies like that. Hollywood's okay with him. He is pretty much the same guy. He's pretty much the same fucking guy. And Hollywood's fine with him. Because his movies made money. That's why they don't care.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would hazard that Sean Connery had... I mean, there are some changes between... There's a lot of changes between the comic book and the movie. And for good reason. But his
I never read this comic.
Good, then you're gonna love some of the things I have to tell you. I actually reread it again just before I watched the film just to refresh myself. Anyway, Alan Quartermain in the comic book is not the head of the League. He's not the leader. That's Mina Harker. She's not a vampire, at least in the first volume.
Okay.
She just always wears the thing and won't talk about her past. And Alan Quartermain is he's wasting away in an opium den when Harker tracks him down. From what I've read, Sean Connery refused to play an opium addict. So that's why they changed it to just him hanging out in Africa.
Dude, Sean, you don't have to actually do opium.
Hey, I'm a professional. Like he hasn't done opium.
I'm sure he's done it all. He
but,
probably snorted it off of some chick's ass.
Money penny.
Beat her up first, though.
Right. So, I think that there's a bit of vanity with that too, and it's probably also the reason why. And I wonder how much of it was the studio saying we can't have our A-list character as like second build, and how much of it was Sean saying I'm not playing second fiddle. Or whatever. I mean, I guarantee it's 50-50 on that. So, like, those changes are because of him and because of the studio and because they're making a PG-13 film for a mass audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before I get off on an Alan Moore rant, why don't you walk us through the film real quick? I mean, just like the basics. We can jump at things as we go.
Well, it starts at the turn of the century. I mean, it's 1899. 1899 single barrel guns. And so what's funny? My only introduction to Alan Quartermain are the Richard Chamberlain movies. That's the only fucking Alan Quartermain movies. Or any Alan Quartermain, anything that I was ever introduced to.
if you don't have like if you didn't major or at least minor in British literature of the previous century, you're probably you may miss a lot of stuff. You may not, they understood that like these were all like British characters from older works that they were melding together here, public domain, because that's easy.
Right.
That's why they added Tom Sawyer, because they said we need an American in here.
Who I don't.
We watch a bunch of
I-
Brits wandering around.
I do. Every time he talks, I hate his voice. I didn't like it in 2003. I don't like it now.
You know what? When the minute you said that, I gotta agree. But I didn't hate it. But
No.
it's
I
a
mean,
little-
like,
there's just something about it.
I hate his
Yeah.
voice. I'm not a fan. So anyway, it's 1899, and the movie opens up showing this one character just going in and destroying like a Zeppelin farm, it just and going in and just causing havoc everywhere, trying to start a world war. So
Obviously, right? Like the opening with the newspaper headlines and showing them basically attacking Britain and framing England, and attacking England and blaming America. I got that ass backwards, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
But basically, like, they tell you that in the opening. So like, okay, so you've already revealed the quote unquote twist of, like, with the, I don't know if it's like, it's so in the face opening. You don't need that.
right.
But it also introduces us to the steampunk aspect of the film, with the dirigibles and the tank, the old style tank. Pardon me.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go
and,
into
And you said it was with the main guy, right?
yes.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yes.
this is eventually revealed to be the main bad. What do they call him? Before they reveal who he really is, they was calling him.
Hold on. I'll look it up.
I'm my problem is my
And my
brain
family is
scrambled
still
with the
yelling
comic book.
upstairs even after I told them to please be quiet.
Calm blue ocean.
Yeah, that ship has sailed.
Anyway, we anybody listening to this has already seen the film. You already know. So M is this pretending to be who they think. Who do they think he? Jesus Christ! Why don't I remember the stupid? Was it like the Hun or something? This is horrible.
I'm looking it up now.
I gotta even check this is because it's such a stupid character. That's the problem. It's such a fucking
Yeah.
stupid character.
M.
That's M. But then when they're chasing after the masked man, what's the masked man's name? This is horrible. I feel like everything broke down with this one fucking guy's name. I was so prepared. I totally because it's the weakest part of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Because your main bad guy, the villain that's running this whole thing to start a world war, such a thing we've never heard of before. He's dressed like a fucking Hun. He's got this giant metal. Oh, the Phantom. That's right. They call him the fucking Phantom.
There you go.
He's wearing a Phantom of the Opera's mask, and his eyes are really fucking just burned and shit underneath, and there's scar. You can see there's scars around the edge, and he's putting himself in the front of
Yeah,
these
here
fucking
it is. I
battles.
just found it. Phantom, and it's spelled Fantom.
Oh, fucking that because anyway.
Yes.
So they go through all of that, and so they run into him each time over. So when they finally reveal that it's actually M, who's actually Moriarty, who should be way fucking older than that if this is the Moriarty that was supposedly died at Rickenbach Falls. Sorry. He's old in the comic book. He's old. In this, he's all right. So what? You're fucking younger than fucking Quartermain. What's going on here? But when they reveal that,
He's
it's like, okay,
dashingly
wait.
handsome.
Right. So the whole, like, in the book, like in the comic book, you never meet M. He's always this mysterious person in the background. And there's two things that there's one thing that makes no sense in the fucking comic book, and two things that make no sense in the film. The thing that specifically makes no sense in the film is, if I'm the head of British secret intelligence, and I'm masquerading and I'm running like a criminal underground element, doing my own thing, I'm not going to show up to the other job, and I'm right.
Right.
and like put myself in harm's way when that's why you create like this alternate character so he doesn't exist. There's no one out there. Why the fuck are you going there? Like, why are you in front of your soldiers? What's going on with this idiot? And the problem, and the thing that makes no sense between in the movie and the comic book, both of them, when they reveal M is actually Moriarty, if you're the Prince of Crime or the whatever they called him, I get him mixed up with the Clown Prince of Crime with the Joker.
Yeah, no, I don't remember what they call him, but
if
the
you're
mastermind
like
of
if
something,
you're this criminal
I think
mastermind, and you're like and you're pretending and you're trying to keep your identity hidden, why are you using your same fucking initial?
Yep.
Just to be clever? Fuck that. That's just stupid. So that shit has bothered me. I apologize.
It's my turn. So it's basically a recruitment. They're trying to get all of these different characters, these people, these extraordinary gentlemen, plus one.
We
lady.
have to assemble the team.
Yeah, they have to assemble the team, and they go and they recruit Sean Connery, Quartermain first, and then the first, I would say, good half an hour.
Well, they
is them recruiting all these people.
All right, just to clarify, in the film we see them recruit Connery first, but then when they take him to meet M for the first time, he meets others that have already been recruited, including Mina and the Invisible Man. Yeah, they were recruited prior, but we only witness Sean Connery's. In the comic book, Mina is the only one we don't see recruited, and we see the recruiting of all three of them.
Got it.
And Nemo also in both. We don't see the recruitment. He just shows up and says, "Yeah, I'm part of the team."
Okay. Yeah, and then they spend the next 15 minutes or so getting Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
And Tom Sawyer.
Well, Tom Sawyer shows up. They don't recruit him.
Oh, that's right. He shows up.
He invites himself.
I thought you'd need an American. It's like, oh, fucking. Like, why the Southern twang?
Much as his voice irritates me, I don't mind the character. I think it was a smart addition.
Character's fine, but I don't know why he has to sound like he's going to be jumping in the achy breaky heart. It just enough. It's like he doesn't sound like anyone from 1899 either. It's like, stop it.
Well, hey, do you remember that film where Sean Connery like disguised his accent?
Oh, that one. Yeah. I know exactly.
Yeah. So
Dark Knight Rises. Was it that one?
Yeah, he's your perfect cover in this film. No one's paying attention.
I don't know why
to
I
accents.
said that, because I defend that Tom Hardy does not sound like Sean Connery in that movie.
But he does.
But he doesn't.
But he really does.
But he kind of doesn't.
It's not his fault. It's Sean Connery's fault. It's not a knock on. You're taking it personally for Tom Hardy. It's not a knock on Tom Hardy. It's not his fault.
Okay.
Because they also did they did voice stuff to his voice after he recorded. He didn't like.
Well,
he probably didn't sign. I bet you he was in the theaters like, I fucking sound like Sean Connery. Guarantee it.
Well, they also did stuff to his voice because Christopher Nolan is notorious, or was notorious, at least with The Dark Knight, that you couldn't understand a fucking word. With Batman having his voice all gravelly, they had to fix it so that you could understand what he was saying. And then with Bane, he went into that, it's like, okay, we have to make sure that Bane is legible, that people can fucking hear him. All right. Breaking that thing out again.
That's mutual. We strayed off path.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So they recruit Jekyll and Hyde, or they actually recruit Hyde and then Jekyll, and and then they go for.
Well, Dorian is also there already, but they get.
Oh no! They go to the Dorian before they pick up Jekyll, don't they?
Do they pick up Dorian, right?
Yeah, Jekyll's not there.
Yeah, Jekyll's not there. They have to go get him.
Because Tom. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I don't have my note. I didn't make ordered notes, so I'm a little. Again, read. You can't read the comic and watch the film and just jump into this shit. It's my fault. I should have prepared more. But, so yeah, when they meet now, Dorian Gray was not in the comic book, and I remember when the film came out, I was pissed off because I was like, it seems like a stupid addition. As an adult, I'm looking back, it's like, okay, yeah, they added him for the sexy. I got you. And they needed a foil. They needed somebody a traitor, because the intermediary between them in the comic book was Bond, James Bond, but that's copyrighted, so they weren't going to stray into that territory. So it was a replacement of a character that betrayed the League. I thought he did great as Dorian Gray. I thought it was rewatching the film now. I think he's a great addition, and it definitely adds.
Well, he had done Queen of the Damned a year earlier, where he played Lestat in that.
Yeah.
Well, listen, that movie has a cult following.
I know. I'm not part of it. That's all.
I think it it has such a huge cult following because A, people enjoyed it, and two, the girl that played the vampire in there, she died in a plane crash.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
She, what was her name? Her real name? I know. I'm sorry, but
I
have to give her props. It was Aaliyah.
Oh, that's right.
She died in a plane crash. She died extremely young, and they were saying that she was going to have like a huge career because she was a singer, and they were talking about like a Whitney Houston type career, and she died.
So they recruit Dorian after the Phantoms guys show up and they all kick ass. Some good lines in that scene. I don't hate that action scene. Then they jump on the Nautilus and they head off to grab Hyde.
You know what I like about when they go to recruit Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? He's wearing the fucking top hat.
I love that shot of him look at the top hat. Yeah. I thought that was a brilliant touch. Of course he's going to get a suit tailored. He's going to kill the guy, but he's going to get a suit tailored.
I need this hat to be like 12 times the size of a normal human head, please. Thank you.
Now the rooftop sequence where they're making him race across the rooftops, very reminiscent of the Murders of the Rue Morgue with Bela Lugosi, which we've reviewed.
Yes.
Because that ends with a rooftop chase of the gorilla, who was the killer in that film.
Yes,
very reminiscent of that. And then the film Van Helsing would rip off the whole rooftop sequence almost verbatim, also chasing down Dr. Hyde, I think.
And Van Helsing only a year or two later, which I believe was Van Helsing done by Stephen Sommers.
I think so. One of the myriad reasons why that film's a huge pile of festering shit.
Yeah.
Sorry. Now, so if we're talking about the recruitment of Jekyll,
a year later, Stephen Sommers, fucking guy.
Yeah. So when they recruit Jekyll in the film, Connery briefly mentions to Sawyer, says, he's been mucking about here in the Rue Morgue for like a month now. He's been raising hell or whatever. Something very mild, something very vague. So for the people that keep complaining, the reason the film didn't do well is because it didn't stick to the comic book, didn't stick to the soul of the comic book. In the comic book, Dupin, the actual detective from Murders of the Rue Morgue, the literary public domain character, he tells them flat out, he's been killing prostitutes like left and right for the past month. You got to get him out of here. Right? And if you think that's bad, let's talk about what we didn't see with the Invisible Man.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to love this. I'm going to love telling you this since you don't know about it.
I don't know.
In the comic book, there are so many other literary references, characters mixed into it. It's a huge in-joke. That's the whole point of the comic book. So we're really, there's no soul to it. The whole thing's just a running gag, basically. But in the comic book, they use the original Gillard. I don't remember the name of the original Invisible Man from the Robert Louis Stevenson novel. I think that was him. Originally, that was the character in the comic book, the actual Invisible Man. However, Universal has the film rights to the Invisible Man, so that was a little bit touchy. They didn't know which way to go with it, so they changed it to a different person who stole the formula. So he's just an Invisible Man, not the Invisible Man.
Yeah, because they earlier in the film they said, "Oh yeah, he died, but I continued his work."
Right. In the comic book, he faked his death, and then the League goes to investigate an all-girls academy where 3 of the young virginal students have suddenly become pregnant. So they
Wow.
go there and they set up shop, and in the middle of the night there's a ruckus. They run out and they find the Invisible Man raping Pollyanna.
The Pollyanna?
I want to repeat that. They catch the Invisible Man raping Pollyanna.
This is in the comic.
It's in the comic and it's played off as a joke.
Oh.
Now, I laughed when I read it in the comic book both times. I think it's funny too. Do I think that you can put that in a PG-13 adventure film for mainstream audiences?
No.
Do I think I can put that in any film? No.
Not unless it had an R after it.
Yeah, so the writers of the film wisely said, serial rapist? The Pollyanna thing's not even a question. All right, we're not even going to mention that again. But as far as the serial rape thing, how about a pickpocket? Something less rapey.
Yeah.
And also in the comic book, not only is he still the original Invisible Man, he's still a fucking homicidal maniac. So he actually does the same thing that Invisible Man does in the film, except instead of hopping in the escape vessel with Dorian Gray, he follows Bond to find out who M is, Moriarty. But then so they meet him at Moriarty's location in the movie, but in the comic book, the Invisible Man makes his way back to the League by beating a policeman's head in with a fucking brick, putting on his clothing, and then walking around with the hat floating over his invisible head, giggling. Now again, the spirit of the comic book, which I think works and I laughed at in the comic book, does not translate the film. Does not this kind of film at all. You're not making this film in 2003.
No, probably not. No.
I'll just briefly mention another main character in the comic book that does, and I'm only talking the first volume of the comic because that's what was out. That's what was coming out when the film came out. Another main character that they had to leave out, Fu Manchu.
Oh God, really?
Which isn't public domain either.
Peter Sellers wasn't available? I actually think he was dead by 03.
Fu Manchu is a copyrighted name too. So in the comic book, they called him the Doctor, and like they skate around it. But like visually, it's such an iconic character. There's no way to get around it. There's no denying it. So they had to just drop that entirely because there's no way you're going to have a cast of predominantly white heroes chasing down the evil Chinaman. I'm quoting Alan Moore. And having his Chinaman army, quoting Alan Moore, fighting back with kites and fireworks. Not gonna fly. There's a reason why you don't see Charlie Chan remakes anymore.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yellowface is real, and we're never going there again. And there's just some things you can't do anymore. And even in 2003, you're not putting Fu Manchu up on that screen.
No.
Sorry,
not.
but that's the whole that big bulk of the film of rounding up the characters. Seeing how they were rounded up in the comic book, there's the soul of your comic.
Yeah.
Shut up with that shit.
Yeah.
Just, there was no... And I haven't been able to confirm this, but I read in one article or review I read that they were in pre-production for the film before the first issue was published.
Oh, really?
That means he sold the rights to the film before he was finished writing it. He may have had it like planned ahead and was working on it and stuff, but he definitely didn't have all 6 issues in the can at that moment. So he knew what can't. He's a smart man. He's a very smart man. He knows what can't make it on this big screen. He knows that they can't film this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they do, he just shits on it because it's not my source material.
Yeah, and he does this with every fucking film. This guy has had the most faithful adaptations of comic books of any comic books, and he constantly whines and bitches about it because he's a big poopy head.
This is true. I mean, they actually improved upon Watchmen.
Yeah.
With the ending.
And there was a time in my life where I read screenplays for fun, like unproduced screenplays. I read V for Vendetta. I read Watchmen screenplays that didn't film that were garbage. That film could have been totally fucking shit. Even, especially if Peter fucking Gilliam got his hands on him. Terry Gilliam. Terry Gilliam got his.
Oh, was he one of the directors that was going to do it?
Yeah, he wrote a screenplay for it. I read it. I was terrified. I said, we got to take Terry out now. But it changed hands and everything was good. I read a V for Vendetta script they were trying to sell where they actually made the fascist fucking anthropomorphic animals.
Oh my
It was fucking a fascist furry state.
Wow.
That's what they were going to do with V for Vendetta. I see that film, I fucking cry with joy that the actual that film made it to screen the way it did.
We saw that in the theater, you and I. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
that was-
Yeah.
This guy has some of the best fucking adaptations, and he whines like a bitch every time. That's one of the reasons why I just don't like him as a person. Love him as an artist, just don't want to talk to him. Don't care what his opinion is of a film he didn't write. That's it. Especially a film where he took other people's work and played with it. These are all public domain characters, sure, except for the ones that weren't, that he skirted the rules around on. And so, I mean, he's not the first person to do it. It's a very common thing in science fiction fantasy writing to take these characters and mash them together. There's a Tarzan meets Sherlock. They're all over the place. But,
right.
I mean, Mr. High and Mighty, you're perverting my work. Dude, this whole thing's made up of other people's work, and you're just fucking making fun with it. And then you get to act all, I'm sorry, I got to stop.
You're getting heated. You're getting heated there. So, I feel like we've kind of talked about everything in this film. What I want to actually talk about is...
We got halfway through and this shit talked Alan Moore for...
Well, no, I mean, we've talked about the plot, how that goes. We've talked about the characters, how they're recruited. We've talked about Sean Connery. We've talked about how, it pretty much ends. But as far as a film, like an overall film, I actually enjoyed a lot of the shots in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like
not
when the Nautilus, ascends from the water with Nemo standing in front of it, and it's behind him, and it's just so grand and huge, and it just goes up. I thought that was a great shot.
There's a lot of great shots in this film. For given the director's shit for, I mean, I say in the review I'm writing, still already at 3 pages. Sorry, but
wow.
I say in there that the problem is I always end up sounding like I'm defending the movie when I'm really just defending it against unfair criticism. If you don't like a film, that's fine. But if you're gonna like criticize it, like technically, don't lie or just like pretend you don't understand stuff.
Well, what happens with a lot of these movies is critics pan it, and then people just pile on. They did it with the Lone Ranger film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that got panned, and then they got piled on. And if you just watch that movie, just don't listen to anyone, and just watch it, I guarantee you're going to walk out of it probably enjoying it. It's like, why is Johnny Depp playing an Indian? He's not Indian. And then that was enough for them to just pan it and just shit all over it.
Yeah, I would say flat out, here's my thing. I would say if you don't like the film, I understand. There's things about it not to like. Great. If you're going to say it's a bad movie, tell me how you fix it. And don't just say go to the source material, because I just proved that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Tell me how you fix it. The trash heap has to speak before it's all fixed. You gotta take out the trash. We're gonna bring that back, damn it. I don't have a solution for this one, but
I have that audio clip somewhere.
Oh,
the trash heap has spoken.
We got to bring that back, because if we're gonna talk about bad films, you got to talk about why they're bad. But again, like this film, what would you say what are some of your criticisms about the movie?
Well, I mean, as far as like real hard criticisms, I thought the dialogue could have been a little bit better. But then I started thinking about, because I never read the comic, and I'm like, you know what? But hold on. I bet the dialogue is delivered pretty similarly in the comic. So I kind of threw that one away, you know. I would have changed Tom Sawyer's voice, or at least delivery. Just, it's like, stop it with this.
That's just a personal preference. Come on.
Listen,
But you're okay with the character in the film, right?
I'm fine with the character. I just hate the way he fucking talks.
And it gave in the comic he actually has Mina and Connery doing like a back and forth thing, like a flirting with each other. Not like, but they both deny it, like that kind of bullshit. Oh, yeah, she shouldn't be around here, so I think you like her, really? You know, that kind of nonsense.
Got it.
But since they didn't, I'm glad they didn't do that in the film. Oh God, thank God they didn't do that in the film. But since they removed any major character arc from Sean Connery by removing the opium addiction thing, where he's pretty much wasting away because he's afraid of doing anything anime because of all the people that it's caused the death of, and the misadventures. Since that's all gone, having the whole father-son thing was the best thing to a character arc you could give him, and it worked.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think it was cheesy or undeserved. I thought it was well written. Also, I thought Nemo was fine. I want to see another Nemo film.
I would see a Nemo film.
I walk a different path. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Well, there's that one. So you know what? Okay, here talk about another shot that I really like. When monsters. Near the end of the film, he's like ricocheting bullets off his sword and like all these things. And then you just see it's a wide shot. He does a thing with the sword, and he's like walking in a fast-paced motion as he puts the sword back in the holster. And then it pans to another shot, and it's just like, that's a badass move.
He Steven Seagals it, but he makes it look badass. Like he just walks through the fight, but he's just
right. But the way he's like doing it, and then he just holsters it as he's still walking, it's like, it was just a great shot.
Now,
I really like shots like that.
If they did remake this film today, there's a reboot in the works. I think I kept seeing headlines. I don't know if it's actually happening or not.
Oh, really?
But I feel like the only way to make that work is to go the way of this new Crow remake and Boy Kills World, and just make it ultra violent bullshit, because then you could bring in the two things that I loved in the comic book that Nemo didn't have in the movie, which were his giant. The first time, like when they go somewhere and there's a crowd of people, he's like, I'll clear a path, and they open the side of the boat, and he just has this giant it looks like something out of martial law, just like a giant grappling hook gun, and he just fires it through 15 people, and they all go flying. And it clears a path. And he has this other it's like a Gatling gun, but it shoots little harpoons.
Oh, God.
Because he doesn't use his guns.
Right.
It's just so fucking adorable. I was like, that would be awesome. But, again, not in a PG-13 mainstream film in 2003. And if you're not making a 2003 mainstream film, you're not going to put Sean Connery in it. So now you can do the opium thing.
You can do the opium thing.
So I think a remake would really work.
George Clooney instead. I mean,
Not bad. Let's not. I don't want to cast it now because it might actually happen. Oh God. Now, one thing I will criticize too is too many of the scenes take place at night.
It's a dark film,
which is usually to mask the CGI flaws and make it easy. So it's just that's. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, like Abomination later in the movie. I know it's not Abomination.
Yeah, like
from
that
the
one
Hulk
Godzilla
movie that came out I don't know,
guy.
5 years later.
Yeah,
it's got a receding hairline. It's like, come on, just make him bald. Why does he have to have a receding hairline?
Not the whole thing. That was now in the comic book. Jekyll and Hyde have reached the point where he doesn't need the serum anymore, so he kind of hulks it out. It's like a Hulk rage thing,
right?
Which there are some funny moments or good moments in the comic book because he's fighting it and everything. But I personally think it's better keeping the potion, the vial, whatever, in the film, because what happens, instead of it being just trying to fight an inner urge, it becomes a question of it's not just I have to fight this thing because I'm so scared. It's fighting the desire to regain that power.
Right.
So Hyde is less of a like a virus or a sickness, and more of like a potential cure for being like the wormy little guy he is, of like having power and strength.
Well,
So I think having him battling the urge to drink the bottle is far more interesting than just trying to stay calm, like a Bruce Banner thing.
yeah. Well, and here I'll mention another shot or type of shots that I liked in this when Dr. Jekyll, right?
Yes.
He could see Hyde in like glass or mirrors and whatnot, and he talks to him that way. And I thought those were great too, especially later on in the film when they play the record, and it has that high pitched noise that no one can hear but him.
Which that was fucking stupid.
It was, but the shot of him in the mirror where he's just like make it stop, and there's that back and forth. I thought that interaction was excellent.
I even like that hallway sequence when he's talking to him in the portals, and then like Hyde kind of like attacks him mentally, and
Yes.
then Nemo shows up and says, "Do I have to cure you myself?" And he's like, "Hey, I know what you've done, you dirty old man." I'm paraphrasing, but like that was a nice moment too. It was like, dude, we're all fucking monsters here.
Yeah, and he's like, I have it under control. He goes, you certainly do not.
Yeah. Yeah, Nemo's the shit, man. That was a great. I remember during the first major fight sequence with him, I was just thinking, is that the actor or is that actually the actor? And then I realized quickly, it doesn't fucking matter. Why do I care? Just enjoy the fucking scene.
It's funny because, and I don't believe that Baron Munchausen is public domain, but I don't believe he is, but I'm like, how is Baron Munchausen not in this?
I think it is. I think Munchausen is public domain.
Oh, is he?
I
like,
believe
how is he not
so.
in this?
Well, again, dude, I'm sure you could. There's a YouTube video somewhere that tells you every single character in the comic book. It's fucking vast, especially if you go through all 3 volumes.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah, no, he pulled every. It was a running joke to see how many you could fit in, and it's a great running joke. It's not a work. It's not a genius work of literary masterpiece of fucking words backwards. It's damn good writing, and it's funny as shit and entertaining. But it's not a fucking work of art. And removing the rapey stuff didn't make the film less good.
Yeah, I should pick up this and read it. I've never read it.
It's available on Kindle. It's worth reading.
No, I think I probably want to do a physical copy.
Well, you go to you know the library route, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I burned through so much, I know, but I feel like I'm missing something. But I mean, there's some pacing issues with the film. I feel like there's way too many scenes where they're just standing around, like looking. I mean, there could have been a bit more activity. They spend a lot of time on the boat, which gives them like limited locations to be in, so that kind of held them back a bit. The whole pitting the world against each other is a great great.
And this movie's only an hour and 50 minutes. It's not a long movie.
No, it doesn't have to be. It probably could have been a little shorter if they didn't try to pretend that that was the one thing I have a complaint about. Just to wrap up, this is my last thing.
Sure.
The writing. Here's a little thing I have a problem with the writing of the film.
Okay.
Now these are all iconic characters that have existed for like over a century for some of them.
Oh yeah.
Right. We all know them to a certain extent, and the film. I mean, Alan Moore writes it that way in the comic book, where you don't have to explain everything. Everybody, when you see Pollyanna, you know who Pollyanna is. We know the joke.
Right.
Ha 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 ha. Well, anyway, so when we meet Alan Quartermain, they say about children never, but they don't go overboard. They don't like give a real background. They just say, we've known you in books. So us Americans are like, so this is a guy from books. Okay, that was needed. Good. We don't prey on it. He talks about his dead wife and kid at one point, I think, but that's all. Right.
Okay.
Good. Nemo, we don't give any exposition. All we get is like, I know what you've done in the past, old man, and allusions to it. But and I think they mentioned no, that might be the comic book. Never mind. But Nemo, Captain Nemo. We know the names, and that's all you need to know for him. So and he doesn't really do much. There's no reason to be concerned about that. There's not a major character arc involved. He's just a stock character. Invisible Man. All they do is say, "Oh, yeah, the original Invisible Man." They get that. That's all just to avoid the copyright lawsuit. That's fair.
Right.
Doesn't come up again. Dorian Gray. They do mention the painting in case people there have no idea who the fuck Oscar Wilde is, but they don't belabor it. He just tells her, it's like, "Oh, I have a painting somewhere, and if it ages, so I don't, and I don't want to look at it." That's all you need to know. Oh, okay. So that's the thing about Dorian Gray. If you don't know, there it is. That's why I think it's interesting taking that and making it like a superpower, like he can't be killed. I thought that was interesting. They don't dwell on that anymore. They don't go into the backstory of who painted the painting or why. It doesn't fucking matter. All that they just let go. When we get to the docks, Mina has to tell us everything. We got to name Dracula. We got to go into the details. We got to show you the thing on the neck. I think we can all understand that, she's a vampire now. Since, she did all that shit with the teeth and the blood and the wings and everything. This is after that, isn't it?
Ironically enough, that slide is on the screen of her as a vampire. Timing, you know what? We don't time things perfectly, but they tend to come out that way.
I'm glad that did because I mean Dorian's in that shot too, right? He
was in the shot before it,
right? So yeah, so he this is after they recruit Dorian. So I mean, they're not setting up for the vampire thing. We saw the vampire thing. Now I need 2 minutes of exposition on the dock of her telling me who she is. What the fuck was that about? Are we really concerned that the one character in this film that no one really would know is Mina Harker because she was the woman in Dracula? What the fuck?
Because it is called The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
That was the whole joke of her leading them,
plus
too.
one lady.
Yeah, and also, like, Alan Moore had a woman running the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen in 1899 because he knew it was fucking funny of a woman trying to run things in the most misogynistic period of history,
Right.
One of the most. It's always misogynistic, but I just little things like that in the film, like why the fuck, like the whole thing with M, they don't even bother going into that with M. Like was that Moriarty? How you think that would be me? So right, we have to go to backstory about that. It's fucking stupid that they, at that point it didn't even matter because it was so stupid he was doing the whole Phantom thing to begin with. So there's negatives to the film, but just as far as like for being that, none of those negatives have to do with not being in the comic book, or being in the comic book and not being in the film at all. That is an argument that is fucking done. I proved it on paper. That's it. Signed, sealed. Everyone can shut the fuck up now and just say they didn't like it.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm done.
You're done. Okay.
Dude, here's the problem. We were supposed to record last week. This shit's been sitting in me for a whole fucking week. On top of all the other stress going on, I had to get this shit out.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's why my review's 3 pages long already.
I was fully intending on recording last week, but it was my anniversary,
no criticism.
so I couldn't do it.
No complaint. I'm just understanding why I'm in this state.
There you go.
I finally got it out. You understand.
I would have rather recorded than what I spent on dinner. I'll tell you that. So.
And if you're dumb, if not dumb enough, that's a horrible thing to say. If you made the mistake of watching this and you haven't seen the movie, I would recommend seeing the movie.
I would.
It's fun. And if you don't like it, it's not horrible. It's just it just may not be your thing. And it was definitely unique as far as films doing it. It's been done a lot in literary, but that scale, it was the first of that scale. So I think they got a lot right, considering the things they got wrong.
I agree. I do.
I don't think the director should have blacklisted. I'm glad it killed Sean Connery's career. I don't have to fucking deal with that nonsense anymore. He can it's just the old films. We didn't need it. Glad it's done. If anything, it was worth it to lose Stephen Norrington. I had nothing against the guy, but if that was the sacrifice we had to make to lose Connery, so be it.
Wow. So we usually only talk about the IMDb scores, but I will bring up the Rotten Tomato scores.
Okay.
Critics' Rotten Tomato score is 17%. They really enjoyed hating this movie.
Yeah.
The audience score is 44%. They
Not great.
enjoyed listening to the critics. I think this is a movie that if you wiped the scores from IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes and let people redo it after they rewatched it, it wouldn't be as bad. I don't think it would get a fresh rating. Like I think 60% and up is considered fresh. I think it would be in the 50%, rating. Audience score, I think, would be higher than 60%. And IMDb, it currently sits at a 5.8. I think it would be a little higher. I think it'd be closer to like a 6.5, 6.6, something like that. I don't think it would be below a 6.
I mean, and like the whole pitting, starting the World War thing by pitting countries against each other was kind of an easy thing to throw in there.
Right.
It's still far better than the unobtainium MacGuffin that Moore uses in the comic book. He basically has Moriarty and Fu Manchu fighting over like an element that helps you fly.
Oh,
steampunk shit.
Did he call it unobtainium?
No,
okay.
That's because he gave it a stupid name, and I'm just throwing out whatever the name was.
Okay.
I'm sure it's probably pulled from like some British children's book from 1780. But because that's clever. Now on IMDb we got 5.8.
5.8.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest problem is that the ending's kind of unsatisfying. I think even for an average viewer, you just don't really feel.
Well, I think they were hoping that it would be very, very successful, and they would open it for sequels.
But they
probably still shouldn't have ended it that way.
I don't have an answer to like how they should have ended it. I just know the ending, even though I like the film and for all its warts and everything, the phrase would be warts and all. I still don't. I still feel let down at the end. I don't even know why. I can't even put my thumb on it. It's just a hard thing. But the film's kind of all over the place, and you're throwing multiple characters together. Maybe it just doesn't utilize the team as well as it should. Maybe there was less with that. Maybe if they disposed of some of the phantom bullshit, they could have spent more time with the characters. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Don't know.
If they do actually reboot it, like I've seen some headlines when I was doing my research, I hope it happens. I'd be interested to see what they do.
I'd love to see a reboot.
Now, as far as 5.8,
you know where this would work really well?
Where?
TV series. Like a Netflix or Amazon, Hulu, like 10-part series.
I think one of the headlines that I skimmed mentioned a TV series.
Oh,
they might be going that route.
Instead of
I
a
agree
movie?
with you.
I think a TV series would be the best way to go.
This is that kind of thing, because then they can get all those fucking references in there and get Alan Moore the jerk off about how much they dedicate themselves to.
Have you been watching
his precious source material?
Yeah. Have you been watching the new Fallout show?
We watched the first episode, and we haven't watched another yet because all the shows we're watching deal heavily with death, and I need a fucking break. And also, those episodes are full hour long, other shows like Resident Alien, that's on broadcast TV. So when you finally get a copy, it's 44 minutes. I can do that, and I can't do the binge thing anymore. I need to space shit out. I got too much.
Well, I will say this: the first episode of Fallout's an hour and 15 minutes, but each one is 60 minutes and less.
Yeah, each one's an hour long. No, that one was long too. But I mean, it was good. It was good. I liked it. I'm so happy with it. I'm so impressed.
I'm gonna go back and replay the video games.
We're still play Fallout 76 with us. We keep asking you.
I know. And the thing is,
next time you're at your goddamn Xbox, let us know and we'll play Fallout 70. It's the only game she plays.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I play other stuff, but I can't because I want
to play Fallout 3 again.
Oh, you can get that dirt cheap on your computer.
I have it already.
You can get it for
I have 3,
oh, there you go.
4. I have 3, New Vegas, 4, and 76.
What about 1 and 2?
I do not have 1 and 2.
What about Wasteland?
The old Wastelands? No.
You got to start with Wasteland because that's where it all started. Wasteland. You got to start Wasteland.
You know what's funny? I had a conversation.
I played all of them at least a dozen times.
I had a conversation with a coworker today where I told him that Wasteland 1 and 2 are the basis of what the Fallout series was based on. And he was like, no, I don't think so. I go, no, I'm pretty sure. And he's like, no, 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 no. I go, listen, I'm pretty sure Wasteland 1 and 2 are directly involved with Fallout.
Well, here's the deal. Like, the original Wasteland game was on PC back in the 80s.
Yeah, like Commodore 64, Amiga, all that stuff.
I had the Commodore 64 128. Phew. But so it was available on that, and I played it a lot. So I don't know what happened. There's something that went on. I don't understand. No, but like,
well, I actually read about it today because he was questioning.
Please let me know.
Well, he was questioning. He was like, no, I don't think so. So I looked it up. So Wasteland 1 and 2 came out, and then Electronic Arts canned it. But Interplay, the video game company Interplay, decided that they were going to create a new series and base it solely on the story structure of the Wasteland games. And they called it Fallout.
Well, I mean, they took more than the structure. They took, it was a huge structure. It's not like they just took the idea. It's basically the same game.
Yeah. So I said that to him, and he was like, "Wow, I didn't know that." And I said, "Well, I did."
Well, I only know it because I played it back then. Otherwise, I'd be finding out the way everybody else is. I just had that experience.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm a faithful. That's why I'll play every fucking Fallout. I even played the bad ones, like the one on the Xbox. I can't talk about it. But how did we get on that? Fallout, yeah.
Oh, definitely. We were talking about how League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is probably going to be a TV series.
Damn, I didn't make a slide for this episode. I'll have to do that very soon. This is episode 412. Oh, we didn't finish up the rating. 412. 5.8 on IMDb, dude. What do you think?
I'd go a solid 6 on this. I wouldn't go higher. I don't think I'd go 7. 7, it would have to be a lot better to get a 7.
6 is the average review. 25% of the reviews are a 6-star rating. I agree with you. The flaws that I pointed out in the film that aren't related to Alan Moore at all do knock it down a bunch. The film definitely could have used a hand in the writing department, but not Alan Moore's help because we want to avoid the rapey stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wouldn't go a 7 on this. The 7, you start to head into Oscar territory when you hit 7s, you know?
Yeah. Again, I'm not defending the film, just defending the criticism. So yeah, 6 is definitely. I agree.
6 is good.
Hopefully the reboot, whatever it is better. And doesn't have Sean Connery.
So now we're into the part of the show where I didn't realize I was going to have to come up with a challenge.
We did it. We did
because
the challenge.
Here's the thing. How do we do challenges now? Because I know how we used to do them.
I thought we just do it on the fly and see what happened. So for my challenge, I did the wheel thing because I want to fill in these gaps in years that we have reviews.
Have we ever reviewed Van Helsing?
We've talked about it. I don't think we actually have a. Again, this is to talk about a film that we've dedicated an episode to reviewing. There's films. There's like I'm not counting if we didn't do like a 20-minute segment minimum on just the film. I'm not counting it. So a lot of the stuff we've mentioned, but we haven't actually formally reviewed.
I'm pretty sure we never reviewed Van Helsing because
Me too.
it came out a year later. It was directed by Steven Sommers, who Hollywood did not blacklist, and it's basically the same fucking guy.
Yeah.
So I guess if I had to come up with a challenge, it would be Van Helsing. But Scott has given me another. The last time we did the Spin the Wheel, where it's got, I believe, 13 movies, and it spins the wheel and randomly picks one. So I'm okay with doing that again, and then I will have a challenge for you next week.
See so that's great because the wheel Joey has right now is for the year 2001. If you go starting back from now, 2001 is the first year you hit where we don't have a review of any film in that year, dedicated to a whole episode.
2001. Okay. So should I go ahead and spin this thing? Should I name the movies?
This is a podcast, so you're going to have to name them for the people that can't watch.
Okay. So on the wheel, we didn't do that last week, by the way.
We did. We went over every title on the wheel. Yes, we did.
My memory is not great.
And that was 2 weeks ago, sir.
I said last week. Whatever. Okay, so we have Jet Li's The One, Faust, John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars. I'm assuming that's 3,000 miles to Graceland. Couldn't fit the 3,000 on that one. I
I should have said 3K. Yeah, 3,000 miles to Graceland.
13 Ghosts with the 1 and 3 for the I and the T, because that makes sense. Swordfish, Soul Survivors.
Hold on. That just to clarify, that spelling of 13 Ghosts isn't mine. That's from the title.
Oh, no. Yes,
All right,
that is not Scott's.
I just don't want to get blamed for that.
No, you wouldn't. Sexy Beast, which I still haven't seen to this day.
And there's a TV series now, a prequel on one of the
is there
streaming
really?
channels. Yeah, I actually have it on my Plex.
Okay.
I haven't watched it yet, but I like Sexy Beast, so I hope we don't have to review it because I like it. But it would be good to review something that's current.
What is that one? It's upside down. Oh, okay. Tomb Raider,
The first one.
Replicant,
Don't be a replicant.
Glitter, and Double Take. Oh God, Double Take, the one with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dennis Rodman.
No, it's a different double. That's Double Team.
That's Double Take.
Double Take.
What is Double Take?
Double Take is Orlando Jones and Eddie Griffin.
Oh God, I've never seen that.
One of the where he has like the little white dog.
Never seen it.
I mean, either. So, but also, if we do get Glitter, there's a caveat. There is a riff tracks available for that.
Okay.
That helps swallow the bitterness there.
Oh my God. Okay. I apologize for the noise. Apparently, the spin the wheel thing is loud.
Well, at least on the YouTube video, it didn't come off any louder than at least on YouTube it protected itself.
Okay.
I don't know about the
right.
podcast.
Well, I just put a new
listened to that
filter
yet.
in Audacity that's supposed to help with audio volumes. So
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and spin this bitch. Everybody ready?
No whammy.
Big money. Big money, no whammies. Swordfish.
What?
Swordfish.
Swordfish.
We've got Swordfish.
Interesting. We're doing another notorious flop.
Yeah, I remember not hating Swordfish though.
Oh well, let's not spill the beans yet.
And that's the one where Halle Berry is topless, and it was rumored that she was given like $1 million extra in her contract, which she has denied furiously. But she never got more money for it.
I almost want to say it's 500,000 and it was confirmed, but I haven't done any research yet since we just spun it. I'll have to look
she
into
says
that.
she didn't get any extra money for the topless scene, and I'm like, I don't know about that.
Then she's a fucking idiot.
And then she won an Oscar for being even more naked a little while later.
Yeah, getting raw dogged by fucking
Billy Bob
Thornton. Yeah. She's okay with that, but she's gonna. I don't know.
She did walk away with an Oscar. That was what, Monsters Ball, I think that was called.
Yeah. Then she did Catwoman and had a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be happy about that, but I am. But that's spoilers for next episode. We should wrap up now, sir.
Let's go to wrap this up. All right. Let me get Good God. All right, everyone. As always, thank you again for joining us for another episode of Movie Sucktastic, episode 412. Yeah, 15 years later, we're still doing this. You can go to our website, our brand new website, moviesucktastic.com.
Good.
Thank you. You can download the show there. You can listen to the show there. You can click on the YouTube video. If there's a video, it'll take you right to the YouTube page, and you can watch the episode. Also, you can tune in live every Thursday at 8 o'clock and hang out with us while we review these things. You can go to iTunes and you can download or listen to the show there as well. You can go to facebook.com/moviesucktastic and you can just watch things that we put there, trailers, posts that we make when we go live, things like that. You can leave us voicemail at 908-514-4470, or you can email us at themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. We will play your your voicemail or read your email. You can go to the website and do it directly from there too. You can go to our YouTube page and you can watch all our videos there. Everything that we do goes there. Scott works really hard on that. He's got some really good videos that he's just uploaded there. Check them out. And yeah, that's about it. Do you have any words of wisdom, Mr. Wilson?
Poor Pollyanna.
Yes.
And she took it with a smile too, because she's always so positive.
Yeah.
And this episode's gonna be demonetized on YouTube because I mentioned rape. So Alan Moore once again fucks me.
Well, you know what? I mean, we're sticking to the source material.
Thank
Come on,
you.
YouTube. Everything's not all rainbows. Jesus.
Pollyanna
Probably
thought
gonna
so.
demonetize it because I said Jesus. That happened to me recently. I was on a forum and I said Jesus Christ, and well, hold on, my post was taken down because of blasphemy. And they're like, I thought there was no swearing on here. It's like, you're right.
This is not the meeting for that, sir.
We had another podcast that, we could talk about this stuff there.
Well, we'll have to get that going again.
We need. I say we could go to episode 100, and then we can kill it. Because we're at like episode 89, 88, something like that.
Are you still recording?
Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Happy trails. Poor Pollyanna.
Mm-hmm.